Guys, this has to be the biggest bombazo I have done on this channel and on my account. We're close to signing Frenkie de Jong. We've actually edged over Paris. And let's talk about that. Welcome to this podcast, guys. Today I have DPHD here.
Yo, what is up, guys?
What is up? So, good news is we have almost signed Frenkie de Jong, it seems like. Based on a lot of reliable sources, he actually chose Barcelona over Paris after Bartomeu's emergency trip to Amsterdam with Abidal, Ramon Planes.
Yeah, man, it's just looking great so far.
It really is. The thing that I really want to give credit for is we've signed Jason Murillo, and we've signed Kevin Prince-Boateng, who was presented today. And now we're signing Frenkie de Jong.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, Bio has been active. Like, I'll give him that. I will give him that. I'm
not usually a big fan of his because of all the stuff that goes on under the table, all the corruption with Rosell. But gotta give him, this time he's actually done a good job. The thing with Frenkie de Jong is, if you don't know, I'll just do a really quick recap. So the interest became a thing, I believe, half a year ago when it really took off. In the summer when Barcelona was trying to sign him, and they couldn't manage to sign him because Overmars didn't want to sell him just yet because of Champions League hopes and whatnot. After a few months, Barcelona were really in for him, and then Paris came in and tried to swoop him, giving him a better economical offer, offering him a better sporting project in terms of him having more playing time guaranteed because he was one of their only midfielders compared to Barcelona. Barca being linked with Adrien Rabiot from Paris didn't really help the case of de Jong because he felt like it would be too crowded because it already was pretty crowded in midfield. Now, with Rabiot, the case is that right now he's been frozen out of the team for a while. He was going to join their tour, which I believe he did in Qatar, I think it was. And after that, he got frozen out again. And it's gotten to the case now where on Friday and on Sunday, he actually trained with the reserves, and if that keeps happening, he'll actually take Paris to court. So he's not happy with his situation, and that also is why Barca have chosen, I believe, to prioritize de Jong because he seems like a more safe bet, and also he's a bigger talent than Rabiot. With all due respect to the latter, but de Jong is a once-in-a-lifetime talent at this point, especially considering how good of a fit he would be for Barcelona. And so they're doing their best to sign him. Now, the latest news is that he has actually chosen Barcelona after the offer that Bartomeu gave him, which, if you missed it, was a really good economical offer, a beastly economical offer, to quote Oriol Domenech. And he also told him that if he joins, 2 starters would not be starters, either leave or just not be starters and get a secondary role on the team. Now, I also read elsewhere that one of the 2 players would actually leave the club, the other would have a secondary role. And instantly, I'm thinking the guy that would leave would be Ivan Rakitic because of how many problems there has been with the contract renewals that just hasn't happened. He's been discussing it with the club since the beginning of the season. Now, obviously, it's become more quiet now, but he hasn't reached an agreement. And if Barcelona end up getting de Jong, which I really do think we will, because Bartomeu is going to Amsterdam tomorrow to finalize the deal, which will be around 80 million to 90 million euros, I could see Paris coming in for Rakitic in the summer. So, bro, what do you think of how he could fit in?
Well, pretty much. First of all, I'm literally so so you don't understand how excited I am. Literally, just thinking that he is gonna be in Barcelona, in a Barcelona shirt is just crazy, because the thing is, my hopes were literally, they were rock bottom. Like, I think it was a few days ago when everyone was like, PSG this and PSG that, and he's definitely not coming. So obviously for me, this is just a great surprise in general. I think like the way he could fit into this, obviously I think with Rakitic's departure, that would definitely help him, you know, have a more secure space, because there needs to be more rotation, and Rakitic is literally on the pitch 24/7. So I think with that departure, I would just like to see De Jong as active as possible. Him, Arthur in midfield, possibly Busquets in a more CDM role. I think that would be a nice 3. What do you think?
Yeah, I think the thing is that from what I've seen from him, he excels in the DM position, the defensive midfielder. And Busquets is, as much as I love him, and I was actually going to talk about this in my next video, the non-podcast video, that as much as I love him, as much as he's done for the club, he just is falling off. He's declining slowly, and that's fair because he is getting old.
Yeah.
And I feel like he could be the one taking the secondary role. Frenkie would be our main DM, and then Arthur could be a box-to-box Xavi sort of midfielder, and then Vidal, maybe even Boateng when Suarez is fit, or Alenia could get a more primary role. We have a lot of names that could play in that midfield, but I think De Jong could be a primary defensive midfielder.
Yeah.
And also,
carry on.
yeah, and also speaking of the midfield, Denis Suarez is not leaving to Arsenal because negotiations broke down between the clubs, and he's actually told Valverde that he is staying at least until the end of the season. So that's also, if he does stay after this season, he's definitely also a bet. Speaking of the defensive midfield, we've got Oriol Busquets on the come up, and Sergi Samper is actually leaving in the summer because he has not renewed his contract with Barcelona. They didn't want to give him the optional year, and so he's a free agent in June. So that's another spot. That's another player in the defensive midfielder spot that gives Frenkie an actual space to be safe in. You know.
True. I mean, like you were saying, with the whole Busquets situation, obviously that's key to this because, I wasn't really sure about Busquets. Obviously, this season we've seen a decline, a dip, but personally I thought he was gonna sort of regain into the next season. But from what it's looking like, I'm not really sure. So I guess maybe even he will be eventually replaced by maybe even De Jong himself. And just in general, we have quite a lot of midfielders, and we only have like 3 spaces for them. So it's sort of finding that balance. Like, yeah, I mean, even Boateng and Vidal, they are quite similar players.
They are. Now, obviously, Boateng is more clinical, and he's more of a finisher type player.
Yeah, definitely.
But you also have Coutinho.
Yeah.
And I think Coutinho's role comes down to who will be manager next season. Now, Bartomeu has said, from what I recall, that he is counting on Valverde for the next season, which means that Coutinho's integration will continue to be a problem unless we actually find something for him. Because the thing with Coutinho is when he does the simple things right, he's one of our best players easily. But when he tries to showboat way too much. So the game we had against Leganés, he tried way too much. He tried way too much to dribble. He'd be in the box, he'd try to dribble instead of just making the simple 1-2. He was really good. And the last game that he was really good for is he just made the simple things happen. And that's what he has to do. If you want to regain form, if you want to regain confidence, make the simple things happen. And then the more special stuff will come as you go on.
Yeah.
Because I feel like right now in his head, he wants to impress, and he's trying to impress in the wrong way. He wants to score these long shot goals. He wants to take on 4 or 5 players. You don't have to do that. If you can't do that, no one is forcing you to do that. Dembele is doing it because Dembele has the confidence, and that's the difference between him and Coutinho right now. Is that Coutinho's confidence is at an all-time low right now.
Yeah, no, that is definitely. I mean, it's pretty spot on because I think with Coutinho, obviously, I think he has quite a lot of frustration, and it's been building up. So I feel like what he's trying to do now is by showboating and taking these long shots, etc., is immediately make that impact when gaining confidence is a gradual thing, right? It's not going to happen from one Rabona flick or whatever. So exactly. I feel like he's just trying to speed up the process. I think is with mixed frustration, and it's kind of showing in his performances. But he definitely is capable. On form, he is one of the best players on the pitch. So it's
without a doubt.
Yeah,
without a doubt.
It's one of those ones.
Yeah. Speaking of frustration, he actually after the Leganés game, he didn't greet any. He didn't say anything to any of his teammates or any of the fans. He just went right into the dressing room. So if we can take a positive out of that, I guess that would be that he realizes that what he's doing isn't right. You know, it's not a case with like Willian from Chelsea, who thinks that what he's doing is right.
Yeah.
You know, at least Coutinho knows that he's doing something wrong, and hopefully that'll push him in the right direction. I'm not saying it's good that he's frustrated, or it's good that he's sad. I freaking love the guy. Yeah. But what I'm saying is maybe, just maybe, him being frustrated will help push him in the right direction. Because he'll actually take input from other players as well. Yeah,
you're saying he's self-aware, which he is, right? Like, he understands when he's not performing to his best standards. So, you know.
Definitely. And I mean, you know, you could argue that maybe it's a little bit classless of him to not, you know, thank the fans of the Camp Nou or whatever. But I feel like in a situation that he's in, I feel like it's fair to just storm into the dressing room. Because you didn't perform. And maybe that, I mean, yes, he needs playing time to regain his confidence, but he also needs to be put in a role where he can actually excel. Putting him at a left wing where he requires space he doesn't have is useless. He's becoming a side passer on the wing. Either that, or he's becoming a guy who dribbles way more than he can do.
Yeah, and then obviously, so now we have the question of Coutinho can't really, well, we don't want him to play on the wing because of what you just said. And it's like now we have Arthur, we have Vidal, we have Coutinho, we have De Jong coming hopefully, we have Boateng, a new signing. We have quite a lot. What I'm thinking is the best thing maybe would be Coutinho, De Jong, Arthur. I don't know, what do you think?
I think that would be a really good midfield because you'd have the defensive stability from De Jong, you'd have the controller of the tempo in Arthur, and you'd have the creative side in Coutinho. And that's, if we look away from Vidal, obviously depending on what kind of games we have, because if you have a game against Atletico or against Leganés, who are a physical side, Vidal would obviously be a better choice, maybe even Boateng.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, it comes down to the game type, obviously. I mean,
definitely.
Yeah, you saw against Atletico. Remember, Vidal. He played a great part in the team, just getting stuck in and stuff. So.
Yeah, and I feel like, again, as you were saying, I think De Jong, Arthur, and Coutinho could be a really, really good midfield as their prime midfield. You know, assuming that they actually can perform together and understand each other. But I feel like it would be a really balanced midfield if Coutinho can get his things right.
Definitely.
And then, of course, Dembele, Messi, Suarez. Now, obviously, this might be a bit too early, but I just want to talk really fast about the Kevin Prince-Boateng signing because a lot of people criticized it. Oh, he's over 30 years old. He liked Real Madrid. He liked Cristiano. And it's like, that's the past. Today, at his press conference, he even said, Messi is the best player in the world and in all of the worlds. He's the best player. Yeah. And he's also said, regardless of what I said, that's the past. I'm at Barcelona now. I'm a Barcelona player. And I'm here to do what I can do best for this club. Yeah. And I feel like people should actually take that seriously because he is a class player on his day.
Definitely.
And yes, he might not have hit peak at Sassuolo. He's been injured for quite some games from what I could gather. But he's still a class player. He's still a player with a lot of experience. He also has experience in La Liga. And I do hope that if he actually performs, I would not mind us having him permanently as a rotation midfielder. Yeah. And then get Luka Jovic or Maxi Gomez in the summer.
I see what you're saying. I think also going back to the Boateng situation, I mean, people getting angry at him about the Real Madrid, the Ronaldo team. Listen, you're a football fan. You're really either going to love Ronaldo or Messi, like one of the two. Yeah. They're the best players on the planet, let's be honest. So, at least over the last decade. So, you know, you can't really blame him for admiring Ronaldo. If we were not Barcelona fans, we'd probably admire Ronaldo as well. If Messi didn't exist, we'd probably admire Ronaldo. So it's like, you can't really, you know, dig at him for that. He's come here, he's set his intentions, he's determined, and that's all you can really ask for him.
Exactly. I feel like his personal... even Rakitic said that Luka Modric was the best last year. Are we going to hate on him too for that? I don't think that's fair. Because it's a personal preference after all. I mean, like, if you really think about it, I feel like if you don't think Messi is the best player in the world, you're blind. That's how it is to me because it's clear as day. But on the other hand, we're talking about personal preferences with players who've played with different players on an international level and on a club level, domestic level. And you'll always have a preference which might not be Messi because, let's face it, in a midfield, you might not think Messi is the one who helps you out the most. That might be, Modric for Rakitic's case. Or in the defense, you might think the best player in the world is, Varane.
Yeah.
So it'll always be different. And I don't think it's fair to judge a player before he's even kicked a ball for us, saying he's going to be bad.
100% agree. Yeah. I actually, he's a very experienced player. So that's another positive.
Definitely.
And I can just see in some Champions League games him just helping us out. But I don't know, man. I'm not gonna be one of them fans that are just wishing for his downfall as soon as he comes. Like, if he's in our shirt, then I want the best for him. You know what I mean? So
yeah, definitely. All right, I think that was it for this podcast. We'll have another one coming up soon. This was just a quick one for the De Jong transfer because I'm personally really happy with it. You're personally really happy with it. And I saw a lot of you guys were happy with it, so I felt like, why not make a podcast around it?
Yeah, man. It's been great.
If he does come, welcome to Barcelona, Frenkie de Jong. It's going to be nice to have you here. And then I'd like to thank you all for listening. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, smash that like button. Subscribe to me. Subscribe to DPHD if you haven't already. Our Twitter links will be down in the description below. And hopefully we'll see you guys next time.
Peace.
Guys, I'm sorry to end this on a sad note, but Emiliano Sala, I just want to pay a tribute to him. If you don't know what happened, he was in a plane crash where the plane basically shredded to pieces. The plane was going from Nantes to Cardiff, and this was his last voice message to his family, asking how they are, and then saying, "I'm dead, guys. I'm dead. I'm basically in this plane from Nantes where nothing bad happened. Nothing. I moved this time to go to Cardiff, and I'm stuck in this plane that's shredded into pieces. If I make it, there's training tomorrow. Let's see how it goes. Anyways, if you guys don't receive an update from me in 1.5 hours, don't look for me because you won't find me." Assuming he's dead, rest in peace. It's tough. And I just wanted to take this minute to pay tribute to him. And I send my thoughts and prayers to his family and close ones. Again, guys, thank you for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Peace.